Good morning, everybody. This is Jack Gleason with MajorLeagueTrading.com coming at you with the MLT Morning Trade Plan video. It is Wednesday, January 30th, 2019, and this is a reminder to follow your rules and trade your plan. For economic reports, before the bell opens, 7 a.m. MBA mortgage applications, 8:15 a.m. Non-farm employment change, as well as last night we had Apple earnings, and I believe there was an earnings report this morning. Before the bell, we had Boeing, so that'll obviously affect the Dow. After the bell today, we're gonna have Facebook and Microsoft, and then tomorrow is Amazon. So obviously a lot of earnings. We can push to new highs with those type of impact earnings. Other economic reports here today, 10 a.m. pending home sales after the open, 10:30 the EIA crude oil stock change, 2 p.m. FOMC, there's going to be no change. I'm basically going to come out and say nothing's happened. And then 2:30 we're going to have the press conference. Trend bias to the prior day, neutral ES, bearish in the Nasdaq, bullish Dow, neutral in the Russell. In the overnight, bullish ES, neutral Nasdaq, bullish Dow, neutral Russell. And on the shorter term time frame, ES is bullish, the Nasdaq is neutral, the Dow is bullish, and the Russell is bullish. In the midterm time frame, we are bullish across the board in all four indexes, and on the longer term time frame, we are neutral across the board in all four indexes. All right, moving on now. For our previous day's summary, the S&P 500, the bell-to-bell high of the prior day, we're above that level, 2650 with the bell-to-bell low at 2629 quarter. Settlement was 2640 quarter. Value area high, 2643 half. Point of control, 2639. Value area low, 2635 quarter. And the European close, 2634.75. Volume of the session, 1,214,000 contracts. Overnight high, 2655 quarter. Overnight low, 2636 quarter. Pivot point, support and resistance levels. R4A, 2681.75. R3, 2671 quarter. R2, 2660 half. Pivot point for the day coming in at 2639.75. S1, 2629.75. S2, 2619. S3, 2609. S4A, 2598.75. For our 10-day range analysis, the S&P 500, the previous day we had a 20.75 point bell-to-bell range against a 25.5 median. The session was 21.5. Overnight 19, first hour 11.75. But still pretty small. You know, we're not having as big of ranges as we used to. The entire session was only 21.5 versus the 39.5 median. And index strength percentage change, Dow led the way up 0.33%. On the loss leader, we had the Nasdaq down almost a full percentage point over the last 5 days. Same thing. Nasdaq's the weakest, Dow is the strongest. With Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple earnings, that's all going to change. Whether the Dow is either going to, or the Nasdaq's either going to stay the weakest, or it's going to flip around and be the strongest here this week, based on what those companies do. But Apple was a positive reaction. Let's move on now to the S&P 500 and the other indexes here. We have some larger targets in play. And I will start off with the Dow. Dow here. The 50% retracement long from Monday's low to Tuesday's high traded in the Dow yesterday. We had the Apple earnings. We've come out. We've blown out of profit targets. First thing you're going to want to look for is the high from Tuesday to high extension to continue to hold. We have held that 50% retracement here in the overnight session. And your upside profit target is 24,878. Larger time frame upside targets right now in the Dow are in play at 25,163. And I'm actually looking to swing up there. I currently have a position down. I'm looking to swing up to 25,163. We very well could get all the way up to 25,700 in the next 2 weeks if these earnings reports are positive. Moving on to the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's near the lower end of its range relative to the Dow. The extension is held for a second time yesterday. 66.20 was the entry. And then we had an opposing same anchor new low extension that was holding yesterday. A break above 67.16 validates all long sequences now in the NASDAQ. And then the upside target is going to be moving up towards 69.26. 69.26 or roughly 226 points from here. In the overnight session, we did hold a halfway back long from the Tuesday low to that overnight high, so we could look for a completion of the 67.22 profit target and then take that swing low to high here today as a potential entry. So you are basically in what is a second test of this extension. I am anticipating this to break, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and delete that drawing, but just be aware of where that 61 is. We need to get above that 61. Now, I'd like to see it happen fairly close in the first hour off the open. I'd like to see us get above this level and then complete that profit target, and then we'll watch this sequence off the bottom in the NASDAQ. The sequence off the bottom of the NASDAQ should continue to hold. Moving on to oil. This next 50% retracement here in oil has not traded. So yesterday, we had the low of Monday to the high of Tuesday as a setup into the open, and then we blew out of profit targets, and then we had this extension. This extension broke at 61.8 by a few ticks, so that's why I ended up deleting that draw. It was an entry level yesterday, and you can see buyers have continued to come in on that level. Because we've made a slight new high here now, I'm going to redraw it, and then this will once again validate this extension because we made a new high. And then there are two support levels I'll look at 53.44 and 53.27. Okay, and that's your 38 50% retracements. Moving on now to gold, which I have in here as the GCJ19 contract. I'm going to go to just the continuous. The continuous has not traded this extension, so just GC /GC like normal. I'm looking at the high of the year, prior high of the year, which goes back to like January 4th, too high. And then I'd like to pay attention to the 50% retracement, which is 1310.6. 1310.6 here for gold. All right, moving on to the S&P 500. The swing low from Monday too high dipped on its 61.8 yesterday, first thing in the morning, and then we came back and held it into the close. We came back and held it in the overnight session, and now we've completed the negative 22% profit target at 26.55. There is a smaller time frame extension that I would anticipate to hold here. I can just tell by looking at this index. The swing high from 26.42 half to high is going to be what we're looking at here off the open, and that is going to be looking to complete at 26.58 quarter. And at that point in time, I would draw the same anchor from 26.42 half to the new high and look for a pullback into that level. As a reminder, higher time frame upside profit targets here in the S&P 500 exist all the way up at 27.1275, which is an official break of the full 61.8% retracement for the highs of 2018 to the 2018 low. So I'm going to back out on a weekly chart. High of 2018 to the low, 61.8 is 27.06 quarter. A completion of the current hourly extension time frame would break that 61.8, and then technically all shorts would be invalidated. So that's going to be a really important level to see what we do out of that. I've seen it before where we'll complete an extension and then sell off aggressively. So getting up towards that 26.1275 area, eventually, possibly this week, I think it's going to be really interesting because I think the trade talks with China are supposed to happen pretty soon here. Moving on now to the Russell. The Russell looks a little different than the rest of the indexes because we held this 50% retracement on Monday, which is super aggressive. That upside profit target is be 1496.6, so I'm setting an alert up there. And then the swing low from Monday to high was kind of choppy here. Okay, we were traded it, broke it, traded it, traded it, traded it, traded it, completed. So I'm going to draw that overnight low to high. The overnight low to high here. We should stay above that level, 1474.9. And if we don't stay above that, I just look for that full halfway back, which I'm going to mark up, and that would be down at 1471.6. So those would be my two support levels here for the Russell, with the higher time frame upside profit targets of the extension, 1512, of the halfway back from last week's lows, 1496. Those are the bigger levels. But right now, all of the indexes are pointing higher going into the open. We have a lot of news on deck. I really like this extension on oil as well. You have FOMC and then Facebook and Microsoft in the after hours, so expect a pretty big reaction to those numbers. Everybody have a great day trading. Trade safe. I have to drive my parents here to the airport, so I've asked Eric to come on here this morning, but I'm going to be getting out of here in the next, 10 minutes or so. So I'll share with you guys my levels, and then when I get back, I'll drop any comments that I have in the room. Take care.